Aloha. So thank you, Senator. He's dear to me. He's a great senator, and I so appreciate Brian sharing exactly what his family did to stand up, his father, to stand up against this kind of experimentation on good Americans. It's absolutely incredible that the nominee for HHS secretary, perhaps the most important department that we have because it cares for all of our people, every one of us, irrespective of what party we're in, what our ideologies are. Our children need health care. Our parents need health care. So it's incredible that he had that experience and was able to share it with us. Let me be very direct because many things have already been said about this nominee. RFK Jr. is absolutely the most dangerous nominee to run HHS in our history. Absolutely the most dangerous person. This is me speaking as a physician. I came to Hawaii in 2000 with HHS as a National Health Service Corps scholar, as a doctor to work in the rural parts of Hawaii. I worked as a physician all the way up until I was elected governor. And that went through the period of lieutenant governor and state rep and state senator with Senator Schatz back in the day. This nominee has spent years undermining public confidence in vaccines. He spreads misinformation and he profits from it. Unconscionable, immoral to do those things. But I want to tell you what I experienced personally, actually experienced as a physician vis-a-vis this nominee. 5 years ago, not a long time ago, 5 years ago, there was a terrible outbreak of measles in Samoa. Why was there an outbreak? Because vaccinations had plummeted. I read about the crisis in the newspapers and called the Minister of Health and their Prime Minister. And they invited us to come over with a medical mission team of about 75 doctors and nurses to come over and correct what had been a tragic circumstance. By the time we got there, dozens of people had already died of the measles. Why did this happen? This happened because RFK Jr. took advantage with his organization, the Children's Health Defense. He took advantage of that country. There had been a tragic loss of life of 2 individuals from a human error, and then he swooped in and scared that nation from vaccinating. Their vaccination rates plummeted down to 31%, and measles spread like wildfire. By the time my team got there, there were these deaths that I described. Hospitals were filled with people stacked on top of one another in the hospital wards. As we went into villages to vaccinate 37,000 people over the course of 2 days, as we went into these villages, I'll paint one picture for you. Myself, my pediatrician colleagues and nurses, we walked into the village, and a beautiful young girl was laying on a bed in one of the villages, in a home, a small hale. We put our hands on her. She was still warm. She was still warm from the fever that had killed her, the measles and the fever that had just killed her. You could still feel the heat radiating off of her body. But when I put my stethoscope on her heart, there was no heartbeat. When I listened for her lung sounds, there was no breathing. She had just died, but was still warm. And then we mourned the loss of this beautiful girl who died because RFK Jr. and his organization scared that family and many thousands of people from being vaccinated. We moved on from her. We had a memorial service, and then we vaccinated the rest of her family in their village. If he becomes Health and Human Services Secretary, he will oversee the entirety of our national program to vaccinate children. And though he will lie today and tell people he maybe supports vaccinations, but he supports science too, what he will do is he will cast doubt on the vaccination program, as he has done for years, as he's done on television, as he has done in documentaries, as he has done in person. And it only takes a little delta, another 10 or 15% of people to not get vaccinated to cause outbreaks. And we will see that in Louisiana, and we will see that in Utah, and we will see that in Vermont. We will see that across America. This is just one reason that he will be deadly for our country. And it is, again, not partisan. This is a person who has been a Democratic candidate for president in the last 6 months. But he is dangerous beyond any expectation. So I humbly ask the Republicans and Democrats, every one of them, to vote against this nominee. He will harm children. He will put children in harm's way, the way he did in Samoa, the way he is capable of doing all across our country. So I'd humbly ask the president to withdraw this nomination. Mr. Kennedy can serve in other capacities, I'm sure, but he cannot be allowed to put our children in harm's way. I won't allow it. We have to stand up to this particular nomination and vote no. Thank you all for being here today.